Hi guys, welcome to your last section for trigonometry for this chapter. Today is honestly just a little bit of review, and it's just figuring out when to use each formula. So a couple refreshers from what we've done so far. We realized that you can have your Pythagorean's theorem. It would be a right angle triangle if you're solving for that, and I would need two of the sides to find the third side. You've been dealing with that one since elementary school. Sometimes we need to realize that all the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, depending on the question that you're working on. You have your primary trig ratios. We shortcut those. We have the acronym SOHCAHTOA to help us remember which ratio goes with which trig function. You have your sine law, which can be used for finding sides or angles. And then your cosine law, again, you can use it to find sides or to find angles. So these are all the formulas that we have looked at this chapter. In your textbook, at the end of this particular section, they give you this chart to help you identify sine and cosine laws. So just to remember, if you're looking at the sine law, you either need two sides and an angle across from one of the sides. The other way is you can have any two angles and a side, and you should be able to use your sine law. Cosine law is a little bit different. If you're looking for an angle, you would need all three sides. This is probably my favorite because it's the easiest to identify. The other one is to have two sides and then the contained angle, the angle in between the two sides. And you can use that one for cosine law also. On this slide here, I've got a nice little flow chart for you to help identify which formulas to use. So when you're reading a question or you're looking at a triangle, the first thing you should ask is if it's a right angle triangle. If it is, you're either dealing with Pythagorean's theorem or one of your primary trig ratios. If an angle is involved, then you are dealing with a trig ratio. If there is no angle involved, okay, the 90-degree one doesn't count, then you are using Pythagorean's theorem. If it is not a right angle triangle, forget about these two. You've got to use either sine law or cosine law. The question that I tell people to ask themselves is, do you know one angle and its opposite side? Do you have kind of two sets of opposite ratios? If you do, then you are dealing with the sine law. If you don't have those, you have the cosine law. Okay, so I've got four triangles here. I just want to see which formula you would use for each one. So pause the video for yourself, see if you can identify it, and then we'll go through the answers. Okay, I hope you had a chance to do that. So here is your triangle. I've got two sides and the angle in between. Two sides and the contained angle means it's the cosine law. I can't use Pythagorean's theorem or SOHCAHTOA because it's not a right angle triangle, and I would need two sets of opposite things. I don't have a single set of anything, so I can't use the sine law, okay? So it's definitely cosine law. This one here, first thing you should realize, it's not a right angle triangle, so automatically it's not those two. It's either sine law or cosine law. All three sides are involved. That's the nice one to identify. You are going to use the cosine law to find the angle. This one down here, again, I can't tell if it is a right angle triangle. It's not these ones. If you wanted to figure out what this angle up here is, take 180 degrees minus these guys. It would be 80. It's not a right angle triangle. I can't use these. So now take a look. I have this angle across from this side and this angle across from this side. I have two sets of opposite ratios, which makes it a sine law. And then the bottom one, it is a right angle triangle, which means it's either SOHCAHTOA or Pythagorean's theorem. I have two sides. I'm looking for the third side. That's elementary school. That's your Pythagorean theorem. Okay, I'm not actually going to do any math here. If you want to see other videos, load up the other ones, or you can look for examples in your book. That's it, guys. You finished. You survived trigonometry.